everyone, welcome to another episode of the Wedding Show and Tell podcast. So last week we had a guest over, and this week it's just back to me talking to you guys by myself. But I think today's topic will be really helpful for you guys, and it's going to be about couple sessions and pre-weddings. So today, let me just give you guys a brief explanation of the difference between a couple session or a pre-wedding. I'm sure other photographers will categorize this very differently, but this is going to be my definition and my categorization of what a couple session is and what a pre-wedding is. But I'm also going to give you guys tips on how to plan a pre-wedding or a couple session, and these tips for how to pick a location, how to plan them, what to look out for, will be able to be applied to all the other packages. So it doesn't matter who you choose or which photographer you pick. Some of these tips will definitely be helpful for you guys. So yeah, hopefully you guys get something out of this podcast. So let me just go into clarifying what a couple session is and what a pre-wedding is for me. So a couple session is basically a 2-hour shoot, and a pre-wedding is a 5-hour shoot. So that's the main difference. And another main difference is a couple session, since it's shorter, it only covers one location or at least one area within walking distance. So let's say Shangwan Central is usually good enough for a couple session. But say you want to do like a beach and a mountain shoot, so that will definitely have to be a 5-hour pre-wedding. And so the 5-hour basically is just so we have 2 hours for each location, but also we leave 1 hour for traveling. So if you want to go all out and you want to cover 2 locations with 2 different vibes, then a pre-wedding is definitely more suited for you. And if you want to keep it more chill, more relaxed, then I'd say definitely go for a couple sessions, so it's a lot shorter and it's more relaxed. And this is how I categorize it. I know some other photographers will just have that under the one category of pre-weddings, and they'll just have it as like pre-wedding package 1, 2, 3 or ABC. And also some other things to look out for when you are choosing packages. For me personally, my pre-weddings and my couple sessions only cover just me, myself as the photographer. I used to have add-ons, well, not add-ons, my package used to come with car rentals, pre-wedding dresses, and a makeup artist. That used to be the case for me because I felt like I wanted to have a more direct package for my couples to choose from, so they don't have to take care of all the other things. Like, they don't have to rent gowns on themselves and they don't have to find a separate makeup artist. But then when I actually put out my package, I had a lot of couples coming up and saying, oh, what if I don't want to include the makeup artist? Can you take that out? Or I don't like this bridal shop, can you take that out? So eventually I just decided to strip everything down to just me by myself. And then everything else is an add-on. So if you do decide you want to add on makeup services, then I will give you a list of maybe like 3 makeup artists and you can see if you prefer their style. If not, you're definitely more than welcome to find a makeup artist or a bridal gown shop that you prefer, because I want you guys to have the choice to do so, and I don't want you to feel like you're restricted to choose the people that I offer, because I feel like you definitely have your own preferences. So yeah, if you want to, you're more than welcome to find people that you prefer. I know some other photographers will have a more all-inclusive package where they provide the makeup artists and the gowns. I'd say that might be a little bit more convenient, but definitely look out for the actual makeup artists and the actual gowns that they provide, and make sure it's something that you like and it's not just something you're going with because it's provided. Yeah, that's just something to be careful with all-inclusive packages, and just make sure you know whether or not you want a more personalized, like customized experience, or you just want to have a more hands-off experience, and just make sure that the photographer is covering everything for you if that's the case. So yeah, just make sure you understand and then make your decision at that point. So now that the basics of the packages have been explained and you know what to look out for, I want to talk a little bit more about the actual planning process. So the main thing about couple sessions or pre-weddings is obviously the location. So the most common question I get is how to pick a location or if I could recommend a location for them. So obviously looking for a location, the easiest way would be to just browse on Instagram, go through all the different types of photographers, and you'll be able to find a lot of locations already because every photographer covers different locations. So you can just go through and see if there's a beach that you like, if there's a mountain that you like, or maybe you like shooting in the city a little bit more. Going through other people's portfolios will help you get a taste of what you prefer. But personally, for me, when clients ask me to recommend locations, I don't do that right away because I want to make the experience more personalized. So instead, I actually ask you guys the question if you guys have any special locations that have a special meaning towards you guys. So maybe you guys have a favorite go-to date spot or a favorite restaurant, or maybe your first date, where you guys went for your first date, or maybe it's the neighborhood that you lived in or the neighborhood that you used to live in. I think by picking locations that have a special meaning towards you guys will make the shoot a lot more personalized. And when you look through the photos, maybe like 10 years down the road, it's not just a random generic place that you picked out. It's a place that actually has meaning towards you guys as a couple and towards your relationship. Not only you get to relive memories at those places that you're familiar with, but you also get to build new memories. And yeah, by choosing places that you're more familiar with, it actually also takes off the stress of being on camera, because being on camera is already stressful enough, but going to places that you're not familiar with can also be an extra source of stress. So by being at somewhere you're familiar will actually help you guys feel a lot more at ease being in front of the camera. But in a general sense, if I had to recommend, my favorite locations would probably be like Taimoshan or Repulse Bay Beach. Central is a nice spot. Mongkok is really nice for neon lights, or maybe like the harbor is also nice for like Hong Kong views. So yeah, once we're done with locations, the second thing to plan for is outfits. So outfits is probably just as important. It really can make or break a shoot. I think if you coordinate everything in a more like cohesive theme, it can make the shoot feel more put together. And so say if you were shooting at a grass field, don't wear a party dress or like an evening gown. I don't think that would fit. Or if we're shooting at like a fancy restaurant or at a bar, don't wear a tank top. This doesn't mean that I'm going to put a lot of restrictions on you. I think the most important thing is that you feel comfortable with what you're wearing. But yeah, obviously if it matches the theme, then it would be a lot better. And also you don't have to pick a gown for a pre-wedding. And also if you want to pick a gown for even just a 2-hour couple session, that's completely fine for me. Or if you feel like you want to keep things simple, you can just wear like a white dress to have it look a little bit more bridal. And I think if you were to pick a gown, then it also depends on the photographer's style. If you're picking a photographer who has a more like elegant style, then definitely pick a piece that is a little bit more classy or elegant. For me specifically, I like to do a lot of movement-based prompts. So I'll make you guys run around a lot, make you guys chase each other. So with these movements, I think definitely pick something that is less restrictive. So don't pick a super tight dress. I would prefer something more flowy so it looks nicer with the movements that I give you, and it'll look nicer in the photos. And also you can match it with your makeup. So say you're not super comfortable with really heavy or dramatic makeup, then just pick a dress that is a little bit more simple if you're going for a simple makeup look or simple hair as well. And yeah, if you guys are just going for something simple, I think a nice touch would be to match with your partner. So say you guys have the same color scheme, maybe it's both a denim or white or beige. Having to match colors or match textures would be a really nice touch as well. And another thing that couples sometimes prepare is props. So the most common props you'll see is like bouquets, veils. Sometimes people like to prepare sunglasses as well. I think by having props that have a special meaning towards you guys or your relationship is also really special. So maybe there's a gift that you guys gave each other at the very start of your relationship, and if it's still special to you guys right now, then you can definitely bring it out to the shoot and just take a few photos with it. There was also once where we set up a picnic for a couple session, and the couple actually suggested that they used to write letters to each other a lot, and they really wanted to bring those letters out and read them to each other on the spot of our shoot. And I thought that was really cute that they got to like reminisce together and just remember how they like grew from this relationship and how they're now starting their new chapter. Yeah, I thought that was really cute, and they got super teary-eyed, and I did as well. So yeah, having these little prompts will definitely make the shoot a little bit more special and more personalized for you guys. But yeah, any other props, say like flower petals, or if you have like saved a date announcement papers or like posters, that's also nice. Some people will also prepare like balloons, or like if you want to set up a picnic as a theme, that's also nice. And also I really love to shoot with pets. So if you have a dog or even a cat, if they're used to going outdoors, I think that would be really cute. And some couples will even opt to shoot at their house if they really want to include their pets, and I think that's also really cute because pets are such an important part of our lives. I feel like they should be included in your new chapter as well. So yeah, picking to shoot at your house is also something really unique, I think. And yeah, so now that we're done with locations, outfits, and props, you should also think about the timeline of when to shoot these. The when can be like how far back you should shoot prior to your wedding day, but also like what day to shoot on and what time of day to shoot on. So personally, I suggest leaving at least 6 months prior to your wedding day, just to make sure there's enough time for editing, and especially if you want to print some out for maybe albums for your guests to look through on the wedding day, or maybe canvases to put up. I think leaving 6 months would be enough. Obviously, I've had clients that reach out 2 months prior. It's still doable, but yeah, I would prefer a little bit more time for both me to edit and also you guys to figure out the printing stuff. And so for Hong Kong, the peak wedding season is September onwards, all the way up to Chinese New Year, which is usually around like February, and then it slows down during February, but it usually picks up again in March. So these months, I would say it'll be a little bit harder to schedule a pre-wedding or a couple session unless you guys are okay with shooting on a weekday. Especially if you guys are going to do a pre-wedding, a 5-hour shoot, I would say it's worth it taking a day off from work to shoot on a weekday, just because there's less people, it's less crowded, less chaotic, and it's just less stressful in general. But yeah, the best would probably be April up to August, but obviously June, July is going to be crazy hot. So probably like April, May would be the best time if we're able to avoid the rain and the bad weather. Just make sure if you're going to book a date, to see if your photographer is going to be free on those specific months, or if you really prefer to do it in the cooler months, just coordinate with them and see if they're okay and if they have the availability. So for the shooting time, like the time of day, I would say like 11 to 1 would not be great, just because the sun is usually right above your head, so the shadows will look really harsh and the lighting is going to be super harsh. So 10 to 12 would be, or like 10, before 10 would be a good time. And then 2 to 4 would also be a good time. And depending on if you guys want to shoot during golden hour, which is it depends on the month, but I'd say around like 5:30 to 7:30, that is usually when golden hour is. So if you do want the nice like soft sunset, then that time would be a good time. And then any time after night would be perfect for like night shoots. Whether it be with like flash photography, or if you want to take photos of neon lights at Mongkok, definitely nighttime would be better. So that was the timeline and how to plan for when to do the shoot. I also have a few extra tips, especially tips specifically towards how to feel more comfortable in front of the camera, because I know not everyone is used to being in front of the camera and it's very stressful. I also did 2 couple sessions for myself personally, and it was tough for sure. Like being in front of the camera and shooting behind it is a lot different, so I definitely know how awkward it is. So yeah, if you want to feel comfortable, first of all, definitely pick a location that you're comfortable in. And then second, pick an outfit that you're comfortable in. Please don't wear something you wouldn't usually wear just for the sake of the photos, because your your comfortability really shows through in the photos, and you can really tell if you're uncomfortable or if you feel awkward. So make sure you're still dressing. You can dress nicely, but just make sure you're still dressing like how you usually would. Yeah, and then if you want to be more prepared, then you can also look up a few poses and practice at home before the shoot. So it doesn't have to be super like crazy poses. It can just be like holding hands, looking at each other, or like giving each other a twirl, or even just like going in for a kiss, like practice going in for a kiss. That will probably help prepare as well. And then if you want to even be more prepared, you can look for photos and then try and create your own mood board. So a lot of the fear and the awkwardness comes from not knowing what to expect. So if you have a clear idea of the photos that you want, then you will naturally feel a little bit more comfortable. So yeah, look for poses, look for photo references, and send them to your photographer, and that should hopefully help you feel a little bit more prepared. And something that I do is I always bring a Bluetooth speaker to play music. Yeah, just playing music in general should help you feel a little bit more comfortable. I have a playlist, but obviously I let my couples be in control of the music part. So if they have a playlist or if they have a favorite artist that they love, then they can always let me know, and then I'll play the music, and hopefully it helps them feel a little bit more at ease during the process. Yeah, so that's definitely something you can ask your photographer as well. If it's not me, if you're booking someone else, see if they have little tips that will help you feel a little bit more comfortable, like playing music, for example. But also, like in a more bigger sense, I think picking a photographer who will make you feel comfortable is also very important. Obviously, the easiest way would just be to pick a photographer who is more candid, like their approach is more documentary style, just because usually that's my style as well. And I feel like with this approach, my couples don't feel the need to perform. So naturally, they are less tensed because I give them direction, but I don't tell them like what every single body part needs to do. And by having less pressure to perform, they just naturally feel a little bit more at ease. I think picking a photographer who can help you feel a little bit more comfortable is definitely the first step into feeling less awkward in front of the camera. And then after these tips, I also want to let you guys know what to keep in mind. These are the more like logistic sides of things. Make sure to know the makeup time if you are getting your makeup done with a makeup artist. Make sure you know how long it'll take. Usually it's, well, at least for me, if I were to include a makeup artist or if the couple decides to add on a makeup artist, say they join my 5-hour pre-wedding shoot, usually makeup artists will need 2.5 hours. So that 2.5 hours is separate from the 5 hours. The 5 hours is just for shooting and traveling. So you may think that the shoot will just take 5 hours, but that's actually 5 hours plus another 2.5 hours. So that's like 7 hours of your day. So just keep in mind of the makeup time, because if we're starting at like 10, you need to wake up at 7, realistically. Yeah, so just make sure you keep that in mind, and also make sure you leave time to eat. I know some other photographers have plans that are like 8 hours long. Make sure you know when to eat. Even with like 5-hour shoots, sometimes we shoot at restaurants or at bars, so that's always a good time for us to snack and get some fuel in. And also leave time for traveling, especially if we're shooting on a weekday across rush hour. Say it's like 5 or 6 p.m. and then we're traveling towards Central. That would be really tough because of all the traffic and stuff. So yeah, traveling time is also something to keep in mind. And if you're booking with a photographer, make sure you know their rescheduling terms for bad weather. If there is a typhoon signal or like a rain signal, what are their terms for that? Do they reschedule or do they just go for it? And also for locations, if say we arrive a location and turns out maybe it's like closed, or maybe say we're shooting at like a further away mountain place or like a grassy area and it rained the day before and it looks horrible that day. Do they have any backup plans for that, or if they even plan for that the day before? Make sure you know these backup plans. And also make sure you know their delivery time for the photos, if it's going to be ready before your wedding day, especially if you want to put them up as decoration. Make sure it's going to deliver on time. And also just what their package includes. Like if it's going to include the makeup artist or the gowns or how many photos are going to deliver. Yeah, just make sure you know the package that they offer. So now that we talked about how to plan a pre-wedding shoot or a couple session, I want to talk about why you should even do it, because I have a lot of couples who book me for their wedding day and they ask me if they should do a pre-wedding. I think doing a couple session or a pre-wedding is definitely helpful in a few different aspects. So first of all, it helps you get more comfortable in front of the camera, because usually it's their first time doing a professional photo shoot, and if it's your first time and it's on your wedding day, then it's a lot of pressure because you don't know what to expect. And I feel like by booking a pre-wedding or a couple session beforehand, you get time to get used to being in front of the camera. So when it's actually your wedding day, it's not your first time doing a professional shoot, and you're just more natural in front of the camera. And it takes away stress from your wedding day, because there's already so much stress on your wedding day. I feel like doing a shoot beforehand will definitely help. And it also will help if your pre-wedding photographer and your wedding day photographer is the same person. Especially for me as a photographer, I find it a lot easier as well, because you skip the getting to know each other part. I feel like if I were to show up on your wedding day and the first thing I do is stick a camera in front of your face, it's a lot. Like, personally, if I were to get married and if I were a bride, I wouldn't want to meet my photographer the day of. I feel like as a photographer, I go into their wedding day. If I had already shot a pre-wedding with them, I can skip all the small talk. I feel like we already know each other well enough. And I know your good side. I know how we interact. We can just like skip all the warm-up stuff, and we just have a better like personal connection. And that really just leads to better photos because we have a relationship. I know what you want, you know what to expect. We're just more comfortable with each other. So that's another reason for not just booking a pre-wedding, but also keeping a same photographer. Obviously, it's different if you want two different vibes. But yeah, in a general sense, it's always nicer to know your wedding day photographer. And the easiest way is to book a pre-wedding with them beforehand. And also, if you were to book a pre-wedding, then the main usage of that would be you would have photos to put up on your wedding day, or if you were to send out invitations or e-invites, then you get some photos to use instead of just your daily selfies. And also, if, say, you have a very rushed timeline for your wedding day and you don't really have too much time for portraits, but you still want to get those nice wedding portraits, then it's nice to book a pre-wedding or a couple session because you will make sure you have a lot of time and there's no stress doing them instead of rushing it the day of with like 15 minutes to go. This also works the other way around. If you want to just focus on your day and not have to stress about getting photos the day of your wedding, then it's nice to do a pre-wedding beforehand. So you already know you have like enough photos of just the two of you and you don't have to put time or make time out of your wedding day just to get portraits. So yeah, that's some of the reasons that I tell my couples if they're contemplating to do pre-wedding or a couple session, then these are usually what I tell them to why they should do it. So a quick recap for everything. Make sure if you were to choose a pre-wedding or a couple session photographer, make sure you pick the right photographer that you feel comfortable with and you're comfortable with their style and their approach as well. And also when you're picking a location, think about locations that not only look nice on camera, but also I think it would be nice to include locations that have a special meaning towards you guys that will still feel special like 10 years down the road. Because it's going to be different looking through photos that you share a memory with instead of just a random pretty place that you picked. And also make sure you pick an outfit that you feel comfortable in. And it's always nice to like color match with your partner if it's something casual. And also make sure to know the photography package that they offer. Make sure you understand every single little thing and whether it's all inclusive or you get to add on different aspects. Make sure to communicate with your photographer for the best time to shoot, what time of day, whether they have any like backup plans for bad weather or bad location if you were to show up and the location is different to what you expect, if they have any backup plans for that. And most importantly, just have fun because pre-weddings are not just about the photos. I think it's also about creating new memories. I've had a lot of shoots where the couples, they thank me not just for the photos, but they thank me for being able to spend quality time with their partner and getting to form new memories at these familiar places that they're used to, or also like new places that they've never been to before. So yeah, this is all I have for today, and hopefully it was helpful and you get a little bit of my insight on how to plan locations, outfits, and the timeline, props, but also if you're thinking if you should do it, then hopefully this helps you decide. And yeah, hopefully you do end up doing it because I would recommend it. It's just a nice way to warm up and also get some nice photos out of it. So yeah, this was my episode, and hopefully you enjoyed listening to me talking to myself. But the next episode, I'm going to have another guest. So hopefully you guys will look forward to that as well. Yeah, thank you for your support and listening to all the podcasts. If you haven't already, please go back to the episodes before. And yeah, hopefully I'll get to see you guys next time as well. Thank you. Bye. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you
you want.